It is important for every intending criminologist to be knowledgeable about various types of criminals, because criminals left traces behind when they commit a crime. There are various types of criminals and their mode of operation and the traces they left behind, and that is exactly what we're going to be talking about in this particular class. My name is Somotayo Femi Richard, and I'm going to be taking you through this topic today, that is the types of criminals. Our objective today, at the end of this class, you should be able to explain various types of criminal, as well as recognize the differences between professional and amateur states, the characteristics of each. Lesson point: let us consider types of criminals in this class. You're welcome once again. Now let's go straight to the class. We have various types of criminals. We have professional criminals, we have occasional criminals, and we have non-professional criminals. But in this particular class, we're going to be talking about occasional criminals. Then subsequently, in the subsequent class, we will talk some more on the professional as well as non-professional criminals. But let's go straight to the class as we talk about occasional criminals in this particular class. You're welcome once again. Okay, what is occasional criminals? We say occasional criminals, or occasional offenders are not professional criminals. They do not take crime, they do not make crime their occupation or career. They do not make crime their occupation or career. They do not rely on skills to commit a certain crime, unlike professional criminals that need to rely on some certain skills to commit a particular offense. Occasional criminals does not have a specific skill to commit a crime. Now, having said that, let's also talk about types of occasional criminals. We have 4 various types of occasional criminals, just for you to understand this topic very well. Occasional criminals. Number 1, we have criminaloid, and we have habitual criminal, and we also have epileptic criminal. The 4th one, we have occasional thefts. Now let's look at what do we mean by criminaloid. We said criminaloid, these are epileptoid who suffer from mild form of disease, so that without adequate cause, criminality is not manifested. Without adequate cause, criminality is not manifested. That is the point. There are individuals, with weak natures who can be swayed by circumstances to commit crime, often showing hesitation before committing the crime. This is the point we're making. Criminaloid is about a particular criminals who will not commit crime if there's no pressure. They only commit crime when they are under some certain condition or certain circumstances warranted them to commit the crime. Let's look at this scenario. A staff of an organization who will always do his or her job and who will not steal from organization if all things being equal. But the moment that such staff is being under some certain financial pressure, or he has a particular bill that he has to meet up with, particularly children's school fees, house rent, some bills and the rest. So such staff might commit crime, might steal from an organization. In that kind of scenario, what we call such situation is what we call criminaloid. That they commit crime under some certain circumstances. So such criminals, you cannot call them professional criminals. They are under occasional criminals, and a subcategory of occasional criminal is called criminaloid. Now let's talk about the second types of occasional criminal, which is habitual criminals. Just as the name implies, these are certain criminals or offenders who continually, committing a particular offense or offenses, and it is regular. They are regular offenders. That is, when we have a situation where someone is committing a particular act, often or regularly, particularly someone who has been alleged of raping someone, and that allegation is coming up often and often, that such situation can be called habitual criminal or habitual offenders. That is the case. Now, the third category of occasional criminals is what we call epileptic criminals. Just like the name implies, epileptic criminals are criminals that suffered from epilepsy. And the word epilepsy is the seizure of the brain. A particular criminal that may be suffering from mental disorder. Now, it happens when they are mentally okay. When there's no seizure, they may not commit crime. But when there is a mental seizure, it may trigger them to commit a certain, offenses. That is the situation we refer to as, epileptic criminal. Now, or epileptic offender. The last category on that occasional criminals is what we called the occasional thefts. Occasional theft are a particular criminals that also commit crime occasionally, particularly criminals that have been convicted of crimes such as theft, a fraud, arson, forgery, and blackmail. These situations are classified as occasional theft. And our lesson point, our reflection moment, I want you to pause and think about why is it important for criminologists to understand various types of criminals. Why is it important for criminologists to understand various types of criminals? Then now let's talk about our discussion question. Our discussion question for today: what makes criminals different from one another? What makes criminals different from one another from what we've said so far? And that will be the end of our class. I thank you for staying with me. Hope to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a wonderful time. Bye-bye.